The experience of establishing a project management office, or PMO, is an exciting one. It is the establishment of a brand new division that ensures the right people are assigned to the right projects at the right time and in the right manner. This brief introduction is intended to convey to a broader audience the systematic approach professional services intends to take in order to establish our PMO with concentration and confidence. The Project Management Office, PMO, is a business-driven division of Antavo Professional Services that is responsible for project management activities, tools, and people. It is accountable for developing project management standards, implementing necessary governance to ensure compliance, and continually improving the quality of project delivery. Additionally, like other Antavo departments that have goals, objectives, and collaborate, the PMO is envisioned to do the same in order to generate organizational efficiencies and synergies. At Antavo, we have a number of project managers who keep things moving along. In other words, how can we tell if Antavo really requires a PMO? So if any of these assertions resonates with you, then it's clear that we need a project management office. Antavo can look forward to following advantages once PMO is in place: delivering projects on time and on budget, transparency in reporting on the progress and financial status of the project, effective use of resources allocated to professional services, employee happiness and productivity increased, and finally, long-term cost savings, better reputation, and higher customer satisfaction as a result of better project execution. The components of a PMO must first be fully understood before any work can begin on setting up our own PMO. To better understand PMO, we've divided it into three main categories: functional, structural, and disciplinary components. The functional component examines the PMO's fundamental function. Is it a standard-setting body or a vehicle for governance? Is it beneficial for the real delivery? Or does it also become involved in the company's strategic decisions? The structural component is organized around three axes: people, processes, and tools. Finally, the disciplinary component tackles the many project management disciplines or domains that a PMO should cover: execution, change management, resource allocation, and communication. While we may not need to construct all of the components of PMO at this time, we will need to review each component to determine what is required now and what may be deferred until later. The PMO's functional components define the PMO's function, role, and scope. Within Antavo, a PMO can be purely a standard-setting body, or it can also impose governance, or it can be a unit that provides project management and delivery services, or it can be an institution that acts as a strategic partner to other Antavo departments. This progressive order is required. Without standards, governance cannot exist, and efficient delivery cannot be done without conscious scrutiny. As a center of excellence, a standards-setting PMO advises on required project management criteria. Adhering to these standards guarantees consistency and predictability in project delivery. This sort of PMO trusts all project managers as practitioners who adhere to the set criteria. Governing PMO not only establishes standards, but also controls them, which simply implies that it keeps an eye on compliance. However, with a delivery PMO, the PMO department is constituted not just of the PMO leader and PMO analysts, but also of project managers, coordinators, and, in some circumstances, business analysts, who are assigned to projects as a service to the organization's stakeholders. Finally, the strategy PMO oversees programs and portfolios in addition to projects. Programs and portfolios are collections of projects and programs, respectively. Additionally, it guarantees, in collaboration with other departments, that all initiatives are prioritized in accordance with the organization's overall business strategy. PMO leader of the strategy PMO frequently sits at the leadership team's decision-making table, facilitating prioritization, holding leadership accountable for it, and constantly reminding them that the organization's strategy takes precedence over personal preferences for projects. People, processes, and tools, these are the three pillars that support the PMO's second component, its structure. The strength of this component is critical to the success of PMO. The most critical of these is people. Because regardless of how well-designed processes and tools are, if individuals are not up to the task, they will fall behind in their capacity to adhere to robust processes and make effective use of nifty tools. The PMO's processes are determined by the functions and disciplines it supports, such as schedule management, scope management, change management, and risk management. These methods should be realistic, adaptive, and backed up by buy-in from relevant Antavo business units. While tools are critical and vital for us to perform our jobs efficiently, the PMO's tools must be tailored to the available technology and the understanding of its users. These technologies should span the disciplines with which the PMO is involved, accurately capture required data, and include reporting systems. They could be simple task management programs or sophisticated project portfolio management applications with comprehensive features. The third and last component of the PMO is the disciplines of project management, with which the PMO should collaborate. Identifying the priority of each of these 4 PMO disciplinary groups and establishing standards and processes for the highest ranking disciplines. Having the tools and templates in place to put them into action, and then focusing on the next priority, is critical to navigating all of the PMO disciplines efficiently, confidently, and stress-free. Let us examine each category, beginning with execution management. This area encompasses budget management, schedule monitoring, and oversight of the creation, completion, and quality of all project deliverables and artifacts. Keeping track of deadlines, monitoring project budgets, and performing peer reviews of deliverables are all examples of execution management duties. It's about regaining a firm grasp on the project's scope. Change management also entails addressing risks and difficulties that could jeopardize the project's schedule, budget, scope, or quality. Several examples of change management activities include the following: escalating a project's risk, brainstorming solutions to a project's issue, compiling cheat sheets or creating templates, conducting training workshops to assist customers in adjusting to life after the project. Resource management is the third PMO disciplinary component. Managing resources includes knowing the team's availability, approving subcontractor offers, and managing non-human assets like software or technology. Lastly, communication management is written, verbal, formally or casually engaging with all parties and stakeholders to convey progress, set expectations, offer information, and escalate complaints. Communication management includes creating a formal project communication plan, holding team meetings, and sharing project reports. We need to know where we are and where we want to go. This is when a PMO's maturity comes in. A PMO's 3 components, functional, structural, and disciplinary, can be judged as budding, established, or optimized. Consider it a matrix, with the PMO components as columns and the maturity levels as rows. A budding PMO's function is either non-existent or its roles is uncertain within the company. A PMO with such a structure will have random, inconsistent processes, no departmental collaboration, and rudimentary project scheduling and reporting. Project management principles are not practiced, reporting is unreliable, and huge projects are conducted haphazardly due to lack of understanding and discipline within the business. This is more of a wild west situation. Everyone's doing as they please. An established PMO's role is clear. Everyone in the organization knows what it does and how it can help. Its structure recognizes projects, tracks and reports schedules, and trains employees in tools and methodologies. The established PMO's project management disciplines are implemented. Vendors are involved in the execution, but the in-house PMO team has more accountability. Its role is well defined, and it is an accepted partner in leading the organization's project portfolio. An optimized PMO has real-time processes, departments working together, and a single integrated project portfolio management application used across the organization. Finally, the PMO actively participates in creating organizational goals and priorities, and all project management disciplines required by the company run like clockwork. You must first dream it to live it. As a PMO leader, you believe in your PMO and understand its purpose. It's up to you to challenge the status quo and help your team see the vision. You are building a new entity, your PMO, from scratch, and you are continually resourcing it. You excel at solving business problems and optimizing processes for project stakeholders. You strategize, plan, and coach your team to apply it to their tasks. You master project finances, hazards, and resource management. In order to set up, coordinate with Antavo management, and maintain a department relevant, you need a practical roadmap. You are the PMO's public face. In terms of projects, you are the link between executive leadership and professional services. Your job description includes nurturing, mentoring, rallying, and equipping your team to succeed. You're in the relationship-building business. You not only set an example for others to follow, but you also ensure that everyone works together. You encourage debates, suggest priorities, and utilize data to support your perspective. You also communicate effectively, produce concise reports, track PMO and project progress, and translate stakeholder needs into plain language. You are a doer. You are close to the pulse when it comes to the execution of your PMO and its initiatives, whether you undertake them personally, with your team, or supervise others. To earn respect for your PMO, you ensure that it sets project management standards, delivers projects on time, on budget, and on scope. You know that your PMO and its projects always induce change, requiring individuals to adjust to new or different ways of doing things. You accept this and engage with the stakeholders to make the adjustment. What's more, you explain why these adjustments are beneficial to the company. You make your life simpler by evangelizing your wins so that people continue to trust you and your PMO. A project manager can develop into a PMO leader, and a PMO leader can act as a temporary project manager. However, there are significant distinctions between the jobs. A PMO leader's primary objective is to do the right things. A project manager is concerned with doing things correctly. A PMO leader casts his gaze to the horizon. A project manager's primary concern is with the bottom line. The objective of this explanation is not to downplay the project manager's responsibility, but to emphasize the distinctions between the two roles' tasks. A PMO leader is in charge of the setup, operation, and evolution of a complete department, the PMO, its culture, and the way it operates. A project manager is either a member or an associate of the project management office. A PMO leader is the architect and gatekeeper of the organization's standards, techniques, tools, templates, and processes, as well as their implementation. A project manager makes use of these in order to run projects. A PMO leader is responsible for the success of all project managers and their portfolios. A project manager is in charge of a group of projects. The PMO leader helps resolve organizational interdependencies. A project manager completes tasks and projects. A PMO leader is responsible for maximizing project resources. A project manager is responsible for team success. So a PMO leader's success directly correlates with the success of the organization, and a project manager's success directly correlates to the success of the PMO. Every journey has phases, and completing each phase gives us a sense of success. It also helps us achieve something seemingly impossible. Antavo Professional Services divides the PMO setup process into 4 steps. Phase 1, PMO current state. Phase 2, PMO future state. Phase 3, PMO rollout, and Phase 4, PMO continuous improvement. Phase 1 is to determine the current state of project management, its obstacles, and why a PMO is required inside Antavo. Moreover, we will evaluate our own company's readiness for a PMO. It will be done by having meaningful dialogues with the proper stakeholders at all levels about procedures, cooperation, goals, and decision-making maturity. Phase 2 is PMO future state. We'll be writing to find PMO roles, tackling fast wins, and establishing PMO establishment deadlines in this phase. This will include defining the PMO's role, target business areas, geographic regions, and project types. We'll create a compelling business case for the PMO, including success indicators, a PMO setup strategy, and major milestones. Finally, Antavo leadership will approve the business case. Phase 3, PMO rollout. Launch the pilot, learn from it, and then roll out the PMO. This is where the action is. We'll start with the pilot and use any lessons learned from it in later rounds. Following the pilot, the PMO will be fully launched as planned in Phase 2. We will often repeat phases 1 through 3 to seek for opportunities to move on to the next level in our PMO's progress. Also, monitor metrics, gather qualitative input, and discuss findings with colleagues whose work styles will be impacted by the PMO. We now have a rudimentary grasp of PMO nomenclature. We devised a plan to build up an Antavo project management office. Next, we will begin our journey with Phase 1 activities. Let's have a sneak glance at some of the measures we will take during this phase. Before determining which issues need to be addressed, we will ascertain who, within Antavo, is affected by identifying PMO stakeholders. We will reach out to key stakeholders across all departments of Antavo to instigate current challenges and future needs. We'll undertake an analysis of the information gathered and will report back on our findings. Antavo Professional Services is serious about solving problems and making a difference. Thus, PMO will scale the needs based on numerous aspects to provide a list of quick wins.